Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on where and when you're watching this broadcast. I'm Thomas Fessler, my friends, and this is Disclosure Tonight. Happy Monday. Happy Labor Day, Monday, September 2nd, 2024, as we all come together as a community to understand this thing we call disclosure. How about that, everybody? Welcome to Disclosure Tonight. Great to have everybody here. What a great day. Did y'all have a good day off? Hopefully, majority of you had the day off. If you didn't, I understand. It's just kind of the way the world works on that front. Let's go ahead and find out who the heck we have in our audience. We've got a great audience here tonight. Better yet, we have a great audience here every night. Who am I talking about? Well, Tim, join the call. Come on, my friend. Let's go ahead and let's do this. Let's see who the heck we have out there. We have the illustrious, the mysterious Tim Senor, always known as Anonymous Rex, Aubrey McLeod, Brian Morgan, 11B's here along with Dan Larev, Daryl Zernick, Mr. Live Long and Prosper is here, along with Eddie, Eli McGinnis. Elmer's here along with Frank, Jan, Jeff Pearson, JS, Kathy, Kelly Broughton, those piercing blue eyes. Good to see you, Kelly, my dear lady. Metal Gaming's around along with Mistletoe. Niles guys here. And Paul DeMond. Would you look at that? Peggy with Crockett and Tubbs. And our friends from South Florida. Thank you for coming in all the way from Miami. Reality Checks here along with Rick Doty. Yeah, Rick's in the back and he's in the chat. Can't wait to see what Rick brings out tonight. S. Sin is here along with Shelley Montgomery. Shelley, we miss you, my dear lady. Syrup's here along with Terrence Wills, Tets, the Chromosome Cowboy, and of course the Mac Geek. How about that? What a great audience. I am so blessed to have such a great audience, but even more, I'm blessed to have such a great panel in the back of people who want to be part of the show and be part of the conversation, my friends. Who are we talking about? Turn that down from there. Let's go ahead. And who do we have there? Let's take a look and see the first person on our list, Andy W. from the United Kingdom. More importantly, Bristol. Welcome, my friend. I had no idea you'd be here tonight. No overtime, apparently.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, no overtime tonight. So, yeah, I got refused overtime. So, hello, everybody. Hi, Rick. Hi, Harold, Laura, and everybody else. Even got Patrick back. Hi, Patrick.
Yeah, well, yes, exactly. Shh, but that's okay. Oh my God, have you seen? We've actually made Twitter fame lately. One of the last times, one of our last conversations talking about all the craziness that's been going on with the poor guy, LM, who is really having a meltdown. We really, really feel for you, LM, and we really wish that you can get the help from a medical practitioner, more importantly, a mental practitioner, to help you get past some of the psychosis and some of the fantasies that you're spinning off in your mind. And thank you for talking with me on that last Saturday, Andy. Appreciate that.
No worries, mate. No worries.
Yeah. Also in the back, we have our dear friend from the Desert Southwest. Let's welcome in Mr. Brian Pemble. Welcome, Brian.
Hey, this is a packed back chat. This is going to be a great show, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Let's hopefully can get this participation from the back as we're talking, wink, wink, hint, hint, back about this new interview coming from Lue Elizondo today. So all raising hands accepted. Thank you for coming in today, Brian. Would you look at that? Our man, the legend, Mr. Hollywood Harold, also known as Harold. Reality Check. How's it going, Harold?
It's going good. I've been called Hard Luck Harold before, too, so anything but late for dinner.
Oh, great to have you here, my friend. Absolutely.
A bunch of us got together in the cantina, and
yeah, I know you invited me about an hour before the show was going to go, which means about half an hour before everything kicks up. And as if we got a crazy husky coming here. Good morning, Miss Heat. How are you doing today?
I was just passing on the address in case you ever got bored or something.
Oh yeah. Great to have you here, Harold. Absolutely. Sorry, I just had a husky throw it in my face. So,
yeah, beautiful dog, beautiful.
Absolutely. And to turn our times on that, we have a remote viewing targeter better known as our own Laura Campbell, coming from the crew over at the Farsight Institute. Thanks for being here tonight, Laura. How you doing?
Hi, I'm great. Farsight Institute, I'm not a member of that crew. I have my own separate one, but that's just one of the few I belong to.
Well, you belong to it. You're part of the community, right?
Forecasting, yeah, I am. So I get a lot of information. One of them I can share. I had heard recently somebody was a little worried about the Beatles member not being healthy and possibly the Beatles, and I'm not a Beatles fan. However, I never followed their music, but just before we got on the air, I started singing "You Know It Don't Come Easy," and I asked my husband, "Who sang that?" He said, "Ringo Starr." I said, "Uh-oh, better keep an eye on Ringo Starr's health."
If I can address something really quick, thank you very much. It's great to hear about Ringo and everything in remote viewing. It's an amazing thing. But I do have a question popping up on the chat from S. Sin. LM has been claiming you guys have been bending over backwards for Lue behind the scenes, as far as not to do anything to challenge him when he gets something wrong. Let's be honest. LM has never been part of any of these conversations about Lue, about saying what we should say, what we shouldn't say, and everything. This is just a fabrication from a person who we said at the start of the show seriously needs some mental guidance on his particular part in his life. I know you're going through a lot of difficult parts in your life, LM. Our hearts go out to you, and you know what? You're saying a lot of things you really don't mean, and if you do, dude, you really need to get some help. You know what I'm coming from here, Laura?
Yeah, my heart goes out to people that have, for whatever reason, make up things, and we don't in any way, including myself, I'll remote view. Lue did that long time ago when he first came out with this stuff. So we pick over people pretty darn good. We don't. Yeah. We like the truth on this show.
Oh, gosh, yes. Thank you for coming in here today, Laura. Sorry to pull into that, but it's just one of those things. This is stuff is popping up in the chat, and I want to address this as it comes along because you know what? We're a show about a community, about a movement, and the last thing we want to do is have someone who was never a producer in the show, who was never anything more than just part of the viewer call-in. And if he's trying to make it sound like it's more coming out of it, I wish LM the best, honestly, but seriously, dude, I hope you can get the guidance. Maybe seek someone from the clergy if you need to help get you the guidance that you need. Also in the back, let's take a look and see. We have one of our dear friends from Ohio, the place you ought to be. Let's go ahead and welcome in Matt Ramon. How's it going, Matt?
Doing really good. My holiday was spent painting, so.
It's very methodical. It's very transcendental. Did you have a good time painting, my friend?
No, my legs feel like shit.
Oh. It means you're not standing enough. So go. It sounds like you need to go for a walk every night, my friend, after dinner.
I guess.
Oh, just saying. Hey, trust me, I'm 56. I'm a bit older than you are, but just a little tip to help get you there. Also in the back, let's take a look and see our friend from Auburn, Washington. Let's welcome in Nick. How's it going, Nick? Can't get to 3, but thank you for being here, Nick. Absolutely. Let's move on from a person from the opposite side of the world. Turn the world upside down. And what do you've got? Australia in the view. Let's welcome in our dear friend, someone who's called none of your business, but it's actually our very own Susan Ford. Susan, how are you, my dear lady?
I'm really well. Thomas, yourself?
See. So. Could be good. Could be better. Could be worse.
Looking forward to the show tonight.
Yeah. Walking downhill on an angle today, very painful, left leg and right ankles. So we'll figure that one out. But thank you for coming in today, Nanya. Also coming from Southern California, our friend Faze Will, the place he ought to be, Southern California. How's it going, Faze?
Hey, Thomas. Good to be here. Happy Monday.
Yeah, but also from from California, but a little bit further north. Let's welcome in Syrup. How's it going, Syrup?
It's going good, Thomas. I think today's going to be a good show, man. We got some stuff to talk about.
I would hope so. Because you know what? We've got our friend Mike Disclosure is back. How's it going, Mike?
Oh, it's going well. This is going to be a great holiday Labor Day show for the audience.
Yeah, especially unannounced because no one in the audience really knows yet. We have Rick Doty back. Thanks for coming back again today, Rick. Happy Labor Day, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It should be a great show tonight. We have a packed back room here and elbow to elbow back here. And yeah, looking forward to the show, especially seeing Laura there. Hope she has some really neat things for us.
Oh, she always has a lot of interesting stuff.
She always does.
Remote viewing is one of those things I've opened my eyes to a long time ago, and it's like, well, it's kind of like the stuff that I could do, but a bit different. But it's very interesting because it's a skill set that apparently anybody who puts their mind to it can learn, Rick.
Well, except for me. I've tried it, but yeah, looking forward to the show tonight.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for being here. On that note, let's jump right into it. We have got a 8+ minute interview coming from Lue Elizondo, who was on CNN. We saw 30 seconds of the interview initially on Saturday. On that note, I want to bring the full 8-minute interview, and we're going to pause it and talk it as it's going on. Anybody in the back has a question about things that are going on, raise your hand. I'll try to find the point to pause it, and we'll talk about it, because I'm sure there's a lot of things we all have to say about this one. Because, Lou, it seems like the more interviews he has, Rick, the deeper he's willing to dive into the conversation of disclosure and what it truly means. On that note, let's go ahead and jump into the desktop video guest. Let's go ahead and bring this up, and I'll send this full screen in a second. Here, pull it back. Here we go.
She's a beaut, ain't she? As you can see from the repairs, we've been trying to put her back together since the late 1960s.
Don't tell me you've had this.
Now, this is just a quick clip from Independence Day to start this off. I have to pause it because I've hit 8 seconds already, and, well, I don't want to get copyright strike. So let's continue.
40 years and you don't know anything about him.
Oh, hell no. No. We know tons about them.
Oh, they know tons about him, absolutely. On that note, let's get to our interview at CNN. Here we go.
That was from the 1996 blockbuster Independence Day, the scene where the president first enters Area 51 and learns the United States had been in possession of alien aircraft for decades. Could this be an example of art imitating life? Well, it very well could be, according to my next guest. His name is Lue Elizondo. He worked for many years and many different positions for the Department of Defense, ultimately becoming a senior intelligence official and running a shadowy Pentagon program investigating UFOs. That is until he resigned in 2017, denouncing the program's secrecy. Well, in his new memoir, Imminent, he shares some earth-shattering revelations, like his assertion that the government is in possession of biological remains of non-human origin. He also describes personal encounters with an unidentified anomalous phenomena, also known as UAP. Lue Elizondo joins me now. How unbelievably exciting. Everyone is almost hitting their televisions with trying to lean in on this moment. I mean, you have written that the U.S. government has been operating a decades-long, I got to read this, crash retrieval program for these UAP, that biological remains of non-human origin have been found. Are you telling me that aliens are real?
Well, what I'm saying, Laura, first of all, thank you very much for having me on your show. What I'm saying is that we have something that is made by non-humans.
So he's referring to what he's saying, and he's talking about that, not addressing the question directly. He's focusing on answering it through what was potentially put out in his book.
Whatever that means, right? We're talking about aliens in the vernacular sense, or are we talking about something that's been here all along? There's a lot of options. We're just now at the point as a nation, as a country, as a government, where we're beginning to acknowledge this.
Why is it that there is so little transparency around this issue? I mean, what drives that decision? Is it fear? Is it lack of information? Is it something else?
All governments want to make sure that they can provide safety and security for their people, for their citizens. And in this particular case.
But pause this really quick. This gets us down to the point to where this has been known from our government for at least, let's say, 77 years, if not much longer. This is nothing new for our government, which means the National Security Initiative, which was brought forth, I believe, in 1947, was brought forward to address it. And we're trying to say this is a matter of national security, but national security as its own was actually brought forward to address this. Rick, would you agree on that one?
Yes, absolutely. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, we're just trying to look at this from an analytical aspect and look at this piece by piece as Luke goes through this. Sorry to go ahead and pull you in when you weren't expecting it, but let's continue.
No, that's all right. I was just no. Pull me in anytime.
I got you. Let's watch this and continue.
We have technologies that are being incurred into controlled U.S. airspace and over sensitive military installations, performing in ways that we cannot replicate, and there's nothing we can do about it.
Here's my problem with this really quick, Rick, and I said this last night and I'll say it again. They're focusing on the incursions over military airspace. What they're not talking about is incursions over the borders of our country. Why do you think they may be so, at least Lue in his area, so restrictive in how we look at this, same from the government, to say, oh my God, it's over a military base? Wouldn't you think when it's over your neighbor Bill's house or my uncle Louie's house over in the Midwest, and there's something going on, that would be equally as important as things that are going on over a military base?
They want to center this around national security.
Right. But if they're coming over our borders and they're interacting with our citizens, isn't that an issue of national security as well?
Oh, I agree 100%. But what Lou's trying to do, I think, and what others have said, based on what he wrote in his book, is they want to make it sound more dramatic by saying national security, military installations, defense areas, nuclear weapons facilities, or nuclear reactor facilities. And that makes it, I think that gets the attention more of the American citizens and the public, especially on a show like CNN.
I know, but I would almost think that saying it's coming and it's surveilling the people of Detroit. We have sightings over the cities of Chicago, Seattle, Los Angeles in the last 3 days. Personally, I think those kind of headlines would get greater public attention than just focusing on the small military part. It almost makes you wonder, why are we just focusing on military when there's things going on that affects everybody in this country, if not the world? That on itself seems like a cover-up.
Yeah, well, Thomas, you're preaching to the choir. I agree with you 1,000%. Why? And I just gave an explanation of what I think they're trying to do, but I agree with you. We should sit around, and some of these people should talk about exactly what you said.
Right.
They're coming across our border. They're coming in our neighborhoods. They've been seen over sporting events, football games, and so forth. So yeah, we should.
They've abducted people, taken them away, done things to them, brought some back. Not all of them. People have disappeared. There's a lot of things that are going on with the general population that seems to be a cover-up to focus on military when it's really about everybody else in humanity. It's not just about the military portions.
Well, let's not forget real quick, Thomas and Rick, that last February we had those 3 objects over Alaska, Canada, and here in the U.S.
And what have we heard, Mike?
That wasn't over a military base. That was just invading our territory and Canada, if you remember.
And Mike, what have they said about that? Let me repeat a quote from the DOD.
We ain't found shit.
Exactly. Right, but that's my point. They're doing incursions here in the U.S. and in Canada, not over military bases, which is a violation of our national security, and they should take it a hell of a lot more seriously than they are, instead of having someone like Kirkpatrick tell us it's all balloons.
Yeah.
Right. But Harold and Andy have their hands up.
Harold, go ahead, my friend.
Well, this plays exactly into their hand of fear mongering and stuff, right? That they're messing with our nuclear weapons and all this stuff. And yeah, it plays right into their hand. And then they take it and have to weaponize it. It automatically has to be for nefarious purposes, right?
Well, here's the biggest thing that everybody missed about the Monsanto link, right? Monsanto was potentially getting access to biological material of the non-human intelligence. And if that's the case, Hollywood, why were they getting it? Clearly for the weaponization of non-human biologics, either against the other non-humans or against humans itself. They're trying to take what they're finding, whether it's technology or biological, and turn it into a frickin' weapon. And from what I've heard, Lue is, in this actually interview, is actually going to go ahead and talk about the not so pleasant side of the non-human intelligence. I don't want to leak too much. Andy, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just going to add a caveat to what Mike said about America and Canada. Don't forget, it's not just America and Canada. It's worldwide. It is over every nation. Every nation. I doubt you will find a single nation on this entire planet that has not had some form of incursion over it, whether over the military or the civilians.
I would say more over civilians than military, because you know what? They have to travel over civilian land to get to where the military bases are.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. It's a cover-up, as Tim Burchett would say many times. Let me continue on with this. Let's have some fun with it. Here we go.
So that's not a really good conversation to have if you're a military leader to have with the American people, right? Until you have a solution.
That's a really important point.
But it's been 77 years and they still haven't come up with a solution yet. So that excuse is, oh, we need a solution to this before we can talk about it. It's the biggest line of bullshit I've ever heard. And I'm personally never going to accept it from anybody.
Because it would create perhaps anxiety with the inability to answer certain questions. And yet there are people who crave the information and want to know if it's real. And by the way, you mentioned military. I mean, there's this video released in 2017 that shows Navy pilots encountering this UAP. Can you explain what we might be seeing here?
Yeah. So
oh, God, here we go back to the gimbal and the go fast again. God.
It's only 7 years old, Tom.
It's only 7 years, and we still haven't gotten past it.
Actually, a lot of videos out there, and the government has, yes. So a lot of people are familiar with the 3 videos that you're showing now. But what a lot of people don't know is there's been other ones that have come out forward from the Pentagon where they've released it. And they said, look, we have no idea what this is. That's a perfect example. That is a...
You know what I'd like to see? Honestly, I'll call Lue on it now. I like to see all the videos that were sent personally to Lue that are not from the military, that are great examples of this. Why haven't we seen that information? I'd love to see it. Who cares if it's not validated? Who cares if it's not 100% verified? Bring out what you know and share it with the world people to go ahead and bring forward disclosure, because we're at that point where we need it.
Another example they call the silver orb. That is the famous gimbal video. That is a vehicle that is flying at altitude. It's going 120 knots against the wind. That is hurricane force winds, right? We're not talking about a balloon. We're talking about a technical vehicle that is going against the wind, and it begins to maneuver in a very interesting way. Most aircraft, because you have wings, when you turn and you articulate the aircraft this way, you lose lift and you lose altitude. That's not what we're seeing in that video. We're seeing a crowd. You can even hear the exasperation of the pilots when they say, whoa, bro, that's not a drone, dude. And there's some expletives there. And the vehicle begins to turn in a way that really, these are trained pilots. These pilots are trained observers. They're combat. Some of them are Top Gun pilots.
But here's the thing. We don't need answers and accountings just coming from the military, because there's more than the military that are encountering this on a regular basis. And I know we could say the military people come from the highest shelf of credibility. That can sometimes be questioned, but we need to go ahead and start looking beyond the military for the answers to what's truly going on. Because the military, whether they're in the military or not, are still going to have an allegiance to some of the practices that we may not agree with regards to what they consider a national security imperative or not.
They know the difference between an Su-22, a MiG-25, and an F-16 from 10 miles away. And what they're seeing there defies all description. In some cases, these things don't even have wings. No rudders, no ailerons, no control surfaces, no cockpits. And so therein lies the conundrum.
Wow. And have we recovered some of these crafts?
So what I can say, I wrote my book for a very specific reason. First of all, I wanted to document and record my experiences in an actual UAP program by the Pentagon. But more importantly, I had to get it reviewed by the Pentagon. It had to go through a security review. In this case, almost a year it went through the security review. And so when I finally got the book back, that was the Pentagon saying, you can publish this. It is not classified. And in fact, anything that we don't want, we're going to go ahead and redact, which I left in the.
So at this point, what he's saying is the DOD is authenticating his statements as to whether or not he cannot say them. The DOD, with regards to, is it a protected program? Is he saying stuff that he can or can't say to disclose what we consider confidential information? They're not vetting every single word to say what he is saying is true and accurate. Would that be an accurate assertion of that, Rick?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly what he's saying.
I just want everybody to realize that. Again, Lue is saying, yes, this has been vetted by the DOD, but in their DOPSR process, they're only looking whether or not something is covered and needs to be redacted out. They are not checking for accuracy or validity of any of the statements beyond that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. They're just looking for classified information to be removed or omitted. That's it.
Right. And that's the biggest thing I just want people in our audience to realize. We're not trying to diss anybody. We're just trying to go ahead and define what is a DOPSR review and what does it mean when a document falls through the DOPSR review and has some things taken out. They're only going to say, you need to take this out, not because it's not true. We want you to take it out because that's classified information or information we feel protected, and we don't want that to get out to the general public. Let's continue on.
So anybody can read and say, oh, that's a portion the government doesn't want you to see. And I kept those redactions covered so people can see exactly what I wrote.
Can I have that copy?
Well, I don't. Okay. Well, when I say the redactions are in there, what I mean is the black lines, right? I'm very careful. I still have my security clearance, and I certainly don't want to violate the law or compromise national security. But this is, I think,
Aubrey, if you want to watch the interview by yourself and not hear our feedback on this, please feel free to do so. As we're talking through it on the show, we are going to stop, but we're not stopping every freaking 4 seconds. We're playing a bit, but we're trying to give our viewers the context of the experts and the people in the chat to go ahead and talk about it. And honestly, Aubrey, if you're interested in communicating on that, please join the back chat. We're more than happy to hear any of your comments or feedback on this as we go through this very important broadcast. Now, this is a format that we've done on Disclosure tonight for a long time. So I could have just played the video up front for 8 minutes. Maybe I should have done that. But what I wanted to do was, more than anything, stop the time, pause it, allow us to go ahead and look at the details. Does that make sense, Mike?
Oh, 100%, because what we're trying to do is bring clarity of what's being broadcast here and what we're showing on the interview, in case people don't fully understand. So it's just explaining to everybody when they listen to this what it actually means.
Right.
That's all we're doing. It's a service
no different
to the audience.
than shows like Vetted and other places do. They're using the same format we've been having here for a long time on Disclosure tonight, and it's just something you need to do as you're listening to something to get in there. But I appreciate I honestly appreciate your feedback, what you're trying to say, but more than anything, I'm just trying to let you know where we're at as a show and as a community for that matter. Here we go.
Exactly. Let's go.
Important because this is the ability for me to write an experience and get it approved by the government to say you can talk about it, but that's not the only time that's happened. Recently, last year, there was a historic hearing that occurred in Congress where several people, 2 pilots and an intelligence officer, testified before the American people under oath to Congress, where they talked about none other than the potential of the recovery of advanced technology not made by humans and biological samples.
Well, talking about those samples, because of course Hollywood has an image in our minds of what, non-human biological data or looks like. I mean, look at this, anywhere from Tesseract from Interstellar to Navi from Avatar. I mean, any idea? Just which might be the closest?
The material that I had been privy to, and I have to be, I don't want to beat around the bush, but I also am very mindful of my security oath. I can't, I'll go right up to that line of what I can talk about.
He has an unquenchable appetite, and his only diet is wrenches.
Sorry about that.
As fast as you can feed them.
I had hold on. There we go. Sorry about that, everybody. I had another window pop up and play some audio. Let me just go back a little bit. Here we go.
Oath. I can't, I'll go right up to that line of what I can talk about. I can't go over it. We had trained medical doctors in the U.S. government look at some of these biological samples and also the material. And research was done. And when they did their research, I am certainly not a scientist and I'm not a medical doctor, so we have to rely on the expertise of the scientists who supported these efforts, both in the past and in our program. And what they're telling us is that this stuff is truly exotic, that this stuff, it would be like, people say, well, you found this material on the ground. Is it possible some sort of foreign adversary built it? And of course, you have to say, yes, it is distinctly possible. But when you look on how this material was manufactured and the precision and the arrangement of the molecules to the other molecules, we've had defense contractors come back to us and say, it's too expensive. We can't make this. And not only can we not make it now, but
Thomas,
this
you just
material
spoke
was
over the
found
interview with
decades
Lue.
ago.
Muted.
So that would be like going into, let's say, King Tut's tomb for the very first time in the 1920s,
perfect.
and all of a sudden finding a fully assembled 747 sitting in the tomb, right? It doesn't make sense. That type of capability to make that did not exist at the time the tomb was made. And it's the same thing,
So this is a good point Lou brings up. It's not just the observations today. It's the observations we had back in the 50s and the 40s, for that matter. They're the same as what we have right now. Maybe we have some more sensors. Maybe we have some more information looking into it. But it's something that's, if you want to call it, that opens up our perspective to what's going on. Syrupy, you have your hand up?
I just want to make sure I'm hearing him correctly. What he's claiming is that we've had doctors examine the biologics, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, doctors like Christopher Green, Dr. Kit Green, he was intimately involved in the examination of extraterrestrial biologics.
Gotcha. Okay. Thanks for that, Rick.
Yeah. Okay, let's continue on. Sorry about that.
With this, we have material, we know it's there, it's real, we can study it, but we don't know how it's manufactured. And it's manufactured in such a way that is very perplexing, and some of the properties are very nuanced and very interesting. And so this is why you have...
Right. Just want to comment on this one. We've heard this comment from Lue Elizondo years in the past when he's gone and said specifically that we lack the material science to replicate the samples that we found from the craft. So this is the same space that we were in the past. Not that it's a bad place to be. I wish we were beyond that. But it's just a reality of our manufacturing process.
Interest by the government to explore and study these materials.
This is so fascinating to me. It's unbelievable what you must know and what must be out there. I knew we weren't alone. And if we're not, let them be watching Laura Coates Live. Thank you so much. It's so great to have you, Lue Elizondo. Thank you. And the Pentagon saying statement, the program, quote, continues its review of the historical record of U.S. government UAP program.
And look who it's from. Good old Sue Goff. How about that? Oh, what a great way to end a great interview. Right, Rick? A message from Susan Goff.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting.
From the inside, from a person who used to start off the show. Let's see if I can find that. There should have a hello, Susan, here somewhere.
And to answer that question about Kit Green, I talk to him at least once a week.
Sorry, hold on a second. Sorry about that, my friend. Go ahead, Rick.
That question about Kit. I talk to him about once a week. It's been, I think, about a week ago that I spoke with him on the phone. So that's to answer that question.
Absolutely, absolutely. What a great show. What a great opportunity to talk about disclosure. Mike, what are your thoughts on where we've been in the last week?
Are you talking about what's been going on with Lue, with the interviews? Or what's been going
Lou's
on in
had
general?
a bunch of great interviews. There's just been, in the area of disclosure, there's been some movements forward, some movements back, but there's been a concerted push and a negative push against Lue Elizondo that's been going on Twitter. That's been involving us, involving others, and it's because Lue is making a difference. He's making a statement. He's bringing things forward that apparently a bunch of people aren't complicit with. And if you look at it from the standpoint of whether you believe in Lue Elizondo or not, right?
Yeah.
Whether you're on one side of it, whether you're Democrat, Republican, whatever you want to call it, you believe, you don't believe, you think it's all a cover-up, you think it's all real, you're somewhere in the middle. Everybody should agree on let's bring it all together as a group, and let's go ahead and figure out what the truth is and demand the freaking answers. It doesn't matter which side of this you're on. Not even close. One side could be higher, one side could be lower. The difference is we're not all together, and that's what they want. They want us not to be together. That's why you'll have like Ken Klippenstein coming forward on Spaces with Lou Jimenez and others. Actually, I have to say Lou was actually being honest and not so jaded anymore. It's like that breakup that happens, Mike, that you can't get over, that divorce.
Exactly.
That you'll never forget. You'll never forget it.
Nope. And sometimes it can even scar you for life.
Some things can scar you for life, but you learn from it. You move forward.
Right.
But with all the shit that's been coming out, I actually have to say Lue Reviews has been honest.
The voice of reason, believe it or not, in an insane world, which is very surprising. In a lot of ways. Who knew?
But it's one of these things you just have to look at reality, and sometimes you just have to say, what the fuck? For once on the show tonight, and look at something and just say, wow, why is it turning the way that it is? Because there's so much crap being manufactured and shit being thrown at people. Sometimes it's better to say nothing, but sometimes it's better to just, I guess say nothing.
Well, Lou explains that, especially today, all day on Twitter with everything that's been going on. He said his mother raised him to take the high road, even when you really don't want to try to be a better person and keep the peace. But sometimes it gets difficult, and we're well aware of that because we have been targeted right alongside Lou because of his popularity lately. And that's what these trolls tend to do. They make drama. Now, if you remember, you and I
Mike,
talked about a couple months back.
Sometimes people say, turn the cheek.
Yeah, the cheek.
Sometimes it's better just to take and cut it off at their wrist and never let them slap you again.
Well, we've done that as well. as you are well aware. But then again, you and I have also made points going back several months to the audience that these other platforms and a lot of accounts on social media, they don't have any content. They don't do any work on their own. All they can do is create drama like a soap opera and attack each other, which we've been pointing out the whole time. And now, when Lue's book came out, they're doing that to him and us as a result of it. So we've been right all along. This just proves our theory, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, it's not a theory. It's more of what we've been working with a particular situation now. One of the things that came out in conversations today was that when Lue went and had his, again, these are coming from the Lue haters, the Lue deniers, let's not believe disclosure, let's just fight it rather than try to get to the truth, which doesn't make sense. They're going out there and they're saying that Lue Elizondo deceived Harry Reid to sign a letter of proof that he had an ATIP when the guy was on going through chemo and had chemo brain, as it's been called out on Twitter today. And it's just a horrible kind of perspective.
Point man.
I've got a little video clip on this to go ahead and show it, and let's just from Twitter blank. Let's see where it takes us. But it's just one of those things, Mike, that we're dealing with right now that just kind of sums up how much vitriol there is to believe the truth and want to get to the truth of the answer.
Exactly. Well, the audience, play the clip. They'll understand better.
Yeah, here we go. Let's go ahead and play this and see where it takes us.
Point man for ATIP, though in recent statements, Pentagon spokespersons deny he ever worked for it. UFO critics have pounced on those claims. Reid says he's appalled but not surprised.
We have a fringe group of people out there who they want to control all this so-called conspiratorial folks. They don't want anybody that's based on facts being involved in this.
There's no sound here, Thomas.
Oh, sorry about that. If there's no sound, let me go ahead and do this again. It's a problem with the back chat. Sorry about that, everybody. Let's get to wrong browser. Sorry, everybody. Let's do this again. That's not it. Second. Copy.
Yeah, I had sound for some reason.
Okay, so you did have sound, but if they didn't have sound, let me just go ahead and bring it up again. I've got it up in a different browser. I can bring it up. Let's see what the audience says. I had sound. Everyone in the audience had sound, so not sure who didn't.
Oh, critic. I didn't. Not back here. No sound.
Except pounds.
You got sound now?
Yes. That's
all right.
Perfect.
Think the audience should have sound. Let me make sure you've got video too. Sorry, I just had to bring in a different browser to go ahead and show this. Let's play it.
On those claims, Reid says he's appalled but not surprised.
We have a fringe group of people out there who they want to control all this so-called conspiratorial folks.
I want to bring this out really quick. Listen to Harry Reid's voice. Does this sound like a guy who has chemo brain? Does this sound like a guy who isn't within his mental capacity? And I would say no and no, because I've had parents, two of them, and two grandparents, that I was very close to, go through end of life. This guy is as sharp as a tack. And anybody who's going after him saying, oh, he got that letter from Lue Elizondo because he was forced to do this and he didn't have his mental capacity, a big fuck you. Just saying it. Let's continue on. Mike, do you have any... You're hearing Harry talk here.
I am. He sounds perfectly aware of his surroundings. He's sharp. He's focused. He was the He was the head.
This is after he had retired, but either way, I mean,
he doesn't sound impaired at all to me.
No, heck no.
Brian has his hand up.
Yeah, just real quick. This is how Harry Reid has always sounded, so I am in agreement with you. He's always kind of had that sort of like a faintness to his voice, but he's 100% himself. Yes, agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sarah?
I spent
go ahead,
time
Rick.
with Harry Reid. I spent time with Harry Reid 2015, 2016, George Knapp, and some others. Hal was there too. And he always speaks this way. He was a majority leader of the Senate. He has a unique way of expressing himself. He had pancreatic cancer when we spoke to him, and he was as alert as possible. Yeah. He was a little weak and walking, but there wasn't anything wrong with his brain.
No. Any of the interviews I've seen of and appearances I've seen of Harry, it was great to see Witness Citizen when he was around. He actually got 2 interviews with Harry, and I wish I would have had the opportunity to talk with him before he passed, because he's one of the people for the longest time is truly from the Senate side of from the government, from the elected officials side of our government in the Senate. He really did recognize the need for disclosure. Syrup.
Oh, sorry. I was trying to actually put my hand down. No, I was just going to say, I'm glad you're playing this video, because there may be people out there trying to figure out what's going on. And there's definitely people out there trying to paint a narrative about Lue that just isn't true.
Yeah. It's disinformation, honestly. You look at the attacks that are coming at me. They're coming at Disclosure tonight. They're going after Mike Disclosure. They're going ahead, and it's coming from some people who are outside of the fence, some people like LM who have fallen in need of help. And again, I don't want to say anything bad against LM, because he was a friend who just kind of spun out of control and then just gotten into a bad place, and his negative thoughts and where he's coming from are being enabled. Okay, fine, I'll play the video. Here we go.
They don't want anybody that's based on facts being involved in this. So what do? They go online and try to belittle Elizondo and me and anybody else that's trying to do it a scientific way. Elizondo is a man with a great record serving our country, and people should leave him alone. And one thing about him, he's not backing off, and I appreciate that very much.
Would you say definitively that he was working for ATIP trying to figure out this UFO stuff?
That's one of the things he did, yes. Yeah.
Although the Pentagon says ATIP ended in 2012, Reid has been informed it is ongoing with greater resources than it had before. The U.S. Navy's announcement that it will encourage UFO encounter reports by pilots and others is a key development, Reid says, an indicator the subject is no longer taboo or a career killer. The ongoing wave of media interest has even convinced Reid's most formidable skeptic, Mrs. Reid.
So my wife said, maybe you aren't so crazy after all.
George.
No, I don't think it was crazy at all, honestly. Mike, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, we know he wasn't crazy. We know he was ahead of the curve. He was ahead of his time.
Yeah.
He was pushing for this. He got funding for this. He was the one that backed Bob Bigelow for OSAP, and to get this moving back in 2007, 2008, to put it all together. And no one in the public was talking about it the way they are today before that. Mm-hmm. Not at all. So he was ahead of his time, and he was right. And now we're in 2024, and everybody is publicly aware of the limits and the depth of the government's involvement with this, considering that we had the Public House Oversight Committee UAP hearing with David Grush and David Fravor and Ryan Graves last year on July 26th. And now the public is aware of the depths of disclosure and what it truly means and what we're up against. And Harry Reid was publicly speaking about this before anybody was aware of it the way they are today.
Well, I've got a breaking UFO news. This is something that just popped up on. I just went up and checked my Twitter feed for what's going on. Let me go ahead and bring this up. Video guest. Here we get to it. This is a tweet that came up from Lue Elizondo an hour ago. And what we have is someone saying, regarding Lue tricking a man dying from cancer is what bothered me. That clearly did not happen. So we have people out there trying to take Lue for what he's doing, what he's bringing forth, and the message he's trying to bring forward to the people of the world, for this matter. I mean, come on, you got to look at what he's done. He's got, beyond his experience, he's got a #1 bestseller coming from the New York Times as of the last couple days. So Lue coming back and saying absolutely did not happen. And it's disgusting anyone would even propose such an outrageous lie, and that is the absolute truth. They're trying to take someone who's truly a patriot here, not just to our country but to humanity, and throw them under the bus. What kind of people are we dealing with here, Mike?
Trolls, people that have no content of their own, like we've been saying. They like to create drama like a soap opera, and that's how they get clicks and attention. And that seems to be what they're in it for. That's why they're doing all of this.
Right.
But you know what? If, as you just heard Harry Reid say, people will go against them for speaking out publicly about disclosure, then that means that you and I are in good company with people like Lue Elizondo and former Senator Harry Reid. So it means we're in the good fight for the right reasons.
Mike, it's not just about me and you, honestly. It's about the community of all the people who watch Disclosure tonight. They're a part of the program, and that's who we truly represent. That's why we're the only show that literally has the only viewer call in. Anybody who wants to join and say something beyond what's going on in the chat, which we have a liberal chat, and we're the only show that really brings up the chat of what people are saying, because we care about sharing the perspective of what's going on. Laura, you have your hand up, my dear lady.
Yeah, I would say that it's fine to have discourse and different opinions, but it's a whole nother level where they're stirring lies. And what's happening is, I don't really believe that they care about disclosure. They're not really seeking truths, and the secret keepers love it. They're just making it that much more believable to the average guy on the street.
So we would call the secret keepers the people who don't want one side of disclosure and the other side of disclosure to come together, because their area is this area of truth they don't want anybody to realize.
Correct.
Yeah.
We have to come together and do the best we can, do the best research we can, and try and just maintain positive attitude with one another.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you for your wonderful feedback. Go ahead, Mike.
No, that's a good point, Laura. Laura is right. It turns out we know why these people are doing it. They want clicks. They want attention. They have no content of their own.
Right.
So it turns out, according to what Laura just said, that they are spreading disinformation and working for free on behalf of the government. And they're doing it for their own motivation, but they're benefiting aspects of the government that do not want the public to be aware of disclosure or what it entails. And they're helping the government unwittingly or wittingly, depends on who the individuals are, for free. And it's disgusting, like Lou said. I agree with his thoughts and comments about this that you just put up on the screen. It's true. It's unfortunate that we have to contend with people that are not smart enough to know it's not really in their best interest. Yeah. And, you know, some of them try to come across like they are disclosure advocates, but they're then spreading huge amounts of disinformation, like we're covering now about Harry Reid and Lue Elizondo. That's not someone who is a true advocate for disclosure to make allegations like this falsely.
Right.
So it's
and that's what we've been seeing a lot of times in these Twitter spaces and people talking about stuff, to where they're bringing stuff forward. There's absolutely nothing to go ahead and back up what they're saying, and they're leveling horrible accusations against me, against you, against others, and it's just it's concerning.
It's disturbing and it's disgusting, like Lou said. But Lou has been dealing with this for the past 7 years since he came out in 2017. And like I said before, obviously you and I are in good company, Thomas. We're not the only ones dealing with this shit.
Yeah. I mean, coming from Pew84 on Twitter, he said, there's a lot of mudslinging going on, all aimed at Elizondo. Be cautious of disinformation. Even though Lue's book doesn't seem like a big deal to us, it's big. And we're seeing, I'm seeing more of a pushback on many different fronts here, Mike, that we haven't seen in a long time. And it truly means that Lue's presence is making a difference. I mean, they're getting down to arguing over some semantics between OSAP and ATIP and everything. Irrespective of that, if there's a deeper message of what's going on, focus on the goal, not the little, you know what I mean, the little things that may be in between that have no true consequence of what we're truly going after.
Right, because let's use a real world example here, Thomas, for everybody.
Right. You mean like when they're trying to put up Stratton against Elizondo against Davis?
Yeah, which, by the way, you and I are well aware of is exactly what Elizondo and Stratton are really doing in real life, not what Twitter is saying they're doing.
Oh, yeah.
Which has nothing to do with them fighting with each other. It's the opposite of that.
Now you have Jay Stratton who is saying stuff, but there's been a lot of statements that have come out from Michelle Stratton, Jay Stratton's wife, that have been very, how do you put it?
Yes,
very
off the beaten path.
Off the beaten path, and they're going against the general narrative that we've heard about Lue and other things that have been going on. So there's some bad blood going on out in public view at this point. We've also had... Go ahead.
Thomas, you know very well that you cannot judge a person by what their wife, who's off the deep end, is doing or saying publicly. It shouldn't be a direct reflection on them, should it?
Oh, it should be, yeah.
It should be.
But as you saw in the last video piece from News Nation, where they had that interview with Lue Elizondo, his wife, Jennifer, was part of the conversation because, you know, it is when you're married, you're not just by yourself, you're there with another person. And I think we've gotten to this place in the conversation where it's recognizing that other person to a degree because they're subjected to the things that are going on around them.
To a degree, but I could also make a point, which I know you are personally well aware of. Sometimes, even if you have a crazy wife, that has nothing to do with what you're doing or who you are, does it? It doesn't. That's my point.
Well, it technically does because sometimes when you're married to a person, it is essentially a legal business partnership you have with somebody. So if you are married to someone and they are saying something, technically you're legally liable for the things that they're saying due to your marriage to that individual, whether you like it or not.
Okay, but you and I are both well aware of, and we speak privately all the time about this.
Yeah, I know. I'm just looking at it from this is, hey, marriage, this is what happens. It's basically like a corporation, two people coming together, making a new business. If one person spends all the money and gambles it away and other stuff happens, guess what? You have no coverage because that is your business. That is your partner in life. And it's not just a marriage. It's literally a business partnership to where if your business partner goes off and engages in something that's like nefarious, guess what? You're guilty.
But if you're a member of that business and your wife is not, and you're married to her, whatever action she takes should not be a direct reflection on you or your actions in the business, should it? I don't think it should.
Depends on their involvement with it, voluntary or involuntary.
Well, you and I are well aware that Jay Stratton and Travis Taylor and Lue Elizondo have nothing to do with
But here, let's just put it this way. Michelle Stratton did not work with Lue Elizondo or Travis Taylor.
Correct.
Michelle Stratton heard all the stories coming from her husband of all the shit that was going on. So her view and perspective is a filtered view of how Jay Stratton was seeing everything that was going on, right?
And
so
we
there's
don't
a
know-
actuality, there is a perspective, there is a perspective view that is communicated and what is understood out of those communications. There's a lot of different areas where information could lose fuzzy details along the way because everybody says something and they hear something differently from what they actually heard.
Well, let me make another point about that. Let's say that Michelle Stratton is going through a mental health crisis right now. That's certainly her private business, and the public isn't going to be aware of that. And if that's in fact what could be going on, then that should be no direct reflection on her husband or what he's saying publicly, because the last time I checked, he didn't come out and confirm what his wife was saying. She did. She's the one who said it, not him.
Yeah.
And that's between Jay Stratton and Lue Elizondo. And from what I understand, they have no issues with each other.
No.
None. Right.
It's a marriage.
You and
It's
I
a
know.
partnership.
Yeah,
They're together.
right.
They're a team. It's like Batman and Robin. If anyone didn't figure it out, Batman and Robin were more than just Batman and the Boy Wonder. It's obvious. Come on, look at the tights.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, really quick, I want to thank FaZe Will for your first super chat. Holy cow, thank you very much, FaZe Will. Every dollar that comes in Disclosure tonight. Happy frickin' September, everybody. It's a new month, and there we go. FaZe Will give it through on a super chat for $49.99. Thank you very much. And I also, sure the audio channel's not too loud. I want to go ahead and thank Townie. 3057. Tom has been meaning to say for a while, as a fellow migraine sufferer, I know how difficult it is to pursue a passion with extreme pain behind one's eye. Thank you for your dedication and the effort, even on migraine nights. Yeah, it's been last 3-4 nights in a row. I get to a certain time, I'm reaching for the 3 meds, lower dose on 1, but going for them to go ahead and take stuff as I've been feeling it going ahead and kicking and coming around, always stopping it before it gets behind the eye. But thank you very much, Tony. Yeah, it stinks. Anytime you ever want to talk about the options and what you're dealing with and what I'm dealing with, yes, we're old. The older we get, the more problems we have. Oh, shit.
Oh, another.
Let's go ahead and figure it out. And then we got another super chat coming in from Rick Doty. Holy cow, Rick. Thank you very much for that wonderful super chat, my friend.
Mine always late for some reason.
Yeah. Either way, thank you. I greatly appreciate that. It popped up. It came
You're
in.
Very, very, very welcome.
Oh, God, yeah. And people have been out there and been throwing shit saying, oh, yeah, Rick's paying to be on here. No, you're throwing super chats because you enjoy the show. You're having a good time. It's not like it's a pay to play. And you know how it is. You're here. I talk with you. You're part of the conversation. It's like I'm hanging out with a friend.
You know what? During that space where they were trashing, Lee was trashing everyone. When Lee brought up the fact that I was supplying you with these donations every night, Lou Review actually stood up for me, saying, I don't see anything wrong with what Doty's doing.
Yeah.
He likes the show. He supports the show. Why would you be against that, Lee? And then Lee came back and said, well, no. I understand why he's doing that. But initially, and other people within that room also stood up. So, I don't care what they say. I'm going to support what I like and what I support. I like your show. I support Disclosure tonight. And if I want to give you money, so be it.
Bingo. Thank you very much, sir. And honestly, really, I appreciate the support you give for the channel. And I really enjoy your camaraderie as we talk about a lot of these things because, we have to look at it with open eyes. We can't just look it down one channel, and sometimes it's a little off. But you know what? I'm there for it. All right, now where the hell was I?
We were moving on from the last story on Twitter.
Gosh, yes. Thank you very much, Mike. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where we're at, if there's anything else. I think we've covered a lot of the... Actually, Brian Pemble, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, while you're looking, Thomas, if you don't mind if I ask Rick a question.
No, please do.
So the House and the Senate come back, not tomorrow, but I think the 9th. Are you hearing any rumblings on your side about hearings? You know, I know we've heard some rumblings on the House side about hearings. Are you hearing anything on your end of things?
Well, they come back on the 9th, but there's a policy a meeting in the Senate, staffers and I think a few senators on the 6th. And so we'll see what the agenda is going to be. And of course, it's going to be up to Schumer, but we'll see what the agenda is going to be as far as committee goes. This weekend.
Yeah, and I'm just hoping, you know, I've been saying this since I think January or February that he just puts that clean bill out there in the Senate. I know it passed, and then we can deal with the House when we get to it. I have my own opinion on that, but I think there needs to be a clean bill. And I know you don't have the force of pushing Schumer or anything, but boy, I hope that happens.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a movement for that, to get a clean bill, at least into a committee, because it has to go through a couple of committees before they vote on the floor. And I certainly would push for that too. I support that, Brian.
Brian, let me remind you, and we've talked about this for a while now. This is an election cycle for a lot of these people in Congress to keep their seats, and a presidential election cycle that could still go either way. So while we're in the midst of that from now till the end of this year, I wouldn't hold my breath on any real legislation moving forward that you would expect or want. I think we have to wait until next year to think about this seriously. Anything that's proposed right now is mostly for political capital, which I know you're well aware of, Brian.
Correct, Mike, and I think we brought some of that up too. Yeah. I'm just trying to push things through as quickly and as expediently as possible and look for any avenues that we can get this through. But no, I think in general you're right, but I would have loved to see a clean bill in January, February would have been in the most appropriate time. So perhaps you are right that we're going to have to wait until after January 19th of next year, probably then to see this. But who knows?
I would say that's a realistic time frame, Brian.
Yeah, absolutely.
From now until then, don't hold your breath.
Rick, if I can really quick here on this point, I've got something else to bring up. I'm sure you've heard about the things going on with Starliner. We've had that weird sound coming on.
Yeah, right.
Has anything been defined on that? I thought I saw something earlier today where they figured out what it was. I was figuring it was a software update issue coming as they were upgrading the capsule. But that's caused quite a stir on Twitter, in the media, and everything else. What's the latest you've heard on this?
I heard it was an interference from some repeater system. The radio has to go through a repeater as somebody, and this isn't coming from me. I just read this, okay?
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's true or not. And when something in the repeater malfunction and it causes a static or the humming, that's what I read. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at what's going on with Starliner right now, it's going up with a massive software update process, which anytime you go through any kind of a system where they're downloading new firmware, they're programming it to the local chips, they're rebooting the systems, you may get something that's going on. There was a lot of interesting things happening. Let me just go ahead, if you don't mind, just for our viewers who haven't seen this, I just want to go ahead and replay this one particular piece of it. Let me go ahead and bring this up. Video, here we go. Just from one of our feeds on Twitter. Let's go ahead and play that. Here we go.
Houston on 2, I've got a question about Starliner.
Houston's with you, Butch. Go ahead.
There's a strange noise coming through the speaker, and I didn't know if you could connect into the Starliner and let me keep mic and let you hear it. I don't know what's making it, but I don't know if it's something that maybe is connected between here and there, making that happen. But anyway, can you do that?
We can configure that, Butch. Give us a minute, and I'll call you back when it's ready.
Okay.
Station Houston on 2, we're configured for audio via hardline and CST, if you want to give us a call.
Okay, I'm in Starliner, and how do you read?
5x5, how many?
Okay, I'm gonna keep the mic up next to the speaker.
Copy.
Hear that?
At negative, Butch, we did not hear anything. All right, Butch, that one
There you go. That's what they're actually hearing.
came through. It was kind of like a pulsing noise, almost like a sonar ping.
Yeah, I'll do it one more time, and I'll let y'all scratch your heads and see if you can figure out what's going on. Here we go.
Yeah. Interesting sound to say the hearing was through this.
Yeah, it sounds like sonar, but sonar doesn't work in space.
It sounds like sonar. It sounds like a heartbeat. It sounds like a regular. There's something that's going on at a regular interval. It'd be interesting if they took the noises and they put them up over a time graph to go ahead and take a look and see if they actually have it, where if the sound effects are actually repeating perfectly at a set interval, and then go ahead and look at what is the actual interview between those things. Let's continue. We've got about 20 seconds left.
Recording. Thanks, Butch. We will pass it on to the team and let you know what we find. And Butch, just to make sure I'm on the same page, this is emanating from the speaker in Starliner. You don't notice anything else, any other noises, any other weird configs in there? Okay, thank you.
There you go. It's one of the anomalies that are out there. They've been trying to figure it out, and it's, space flights. It's a test capsule that also just went underneath a major, if you want to call it, software update. So my vote on it, personally, Mike, should we go ahead and do a poll? We haven't done a poll in a while.
We can, but before you do that, we got another super chat from Tamisha Bertrand.
I covered that one.
Did you?
I should have during the show. It's like, wow. Thank you for, here, let's turn that off. Tamisha Bertrand, thank you very much. Tamisha used to be in the back all the time. One of the first ladies of Disclosure Tonight who came around on a regular basis. Besides Shelley. Shelley was the first. Thank you for all you do, my friend, much. Thank you very much, Tamisha. I appreciate that love and support. I know you've don't got a lot of money to fool around with, and we appreciate everything you're trying to do to help Disclosure Tonight. That Tamisha, right, Mike?
Yes, sir. That's absolutely the one.
Trying to see what else we've got going on here on Twitter world for this matter. We always have a bunch of bookmarks going on, but again, it's just been the vitriol and hate towards Lue that's been coming out more and more. It's just sad, but it's to be expected. Anytime Lue's going to be up on the news, what are we going to get? We're going to get more bullshit thrown at him.
Well, what we're going to get is, like you pointed out, he has the #1 selling book in the country right now, and he's making appearances on all mainstream media outlets. So all of these trolls that don't have any attention or clicks are going to try to jump on the bandwagon any way they can to bring attention to themselves.
So they're leveraging Lue's popularity to go ahead and promote their troll initiatives.
Correct.
Yeah.
And they're looking to get attention. That's why they do what they do. It's self-motivation.
Yeah.
Nothing productive and nothing good for Disclosure itself. And they're just trying to jump on the bandwagon and ride Lue's coattails to get some attention for themselves. That's the reality of all this. Unfortunately, like you said, it's sad. A lot of these people have more issues than a magazine rack, including mental. And all you could do is hope that they get the help that they need and move on, like we've been doing with all of this.
Well, since we just covered this, for one of the tweets we covered on Lue Elizondo earlier, he's been going back and forth with Deep Prasad. Let me go ahead and bring this up. It's something we should cover here in Disclosure Tonight because you know what? It's out on Twitter, right, Mike?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's video full guest. Let's bring this up. So we have Lue Elizondo saying absolutely did not happen, and disgusting anyone would even propose such an outrageous lie. This is regarding Lue Elizondo tricking a dying man. We talked about this one earlier. Coming from Deep Prasad, he said, Lue, that did sound like quite an accusation, meaning that Lue had gone and deceived a dying man. I think there's a lot of pent-up resentment from... Let me make this a little bit bigger. Here we go for the audience to see it. Let me make Mike a little bit smaller over here on the layout, and you guys can see it. Let me just do this. Here we go. And turn. Let's get through it. All right. So, Lue, that did sound like an accusation. I think there's a lot of pent-up resentment from misunderstanding and minor misalignments that should be sorted out sooner than later. Ideally, in public. Now, Mike, remind me, who is Deep Prasad again?
Deep Prasad is a scientist who has created a company that deals with satellites, and he is a close friend of Elon Musk.
Right.
But he also is somebody who was chased away by trolls in 2020 on social media about disclosure, and he feels personally that Lue Elizondo was responsible for that. And how I know that is that the trolls that you and I have been talking about on the show today hold their spaces. Deep Prasad was in those spaces.
You know what,
with
Mike,
those
though?
trolls.
I have to say, I followed up with Deep Prasad after those troll conversations. I gave him some information. He then came back with some questions. I responded to those questions honestly and truthfully with regards to it. And then he accepted the conversation, and that was it. It was kind of, he's a good analytical thinker, but if you're listening to the wrong people and you buy into all the bullshit someone like LM who's spinning at this point, you just have to go ahead and just sometimes let people know, let it go in one ear, out the other. Don't even let it get mixed up inside.
That's true. But I might have the opinion that I consider somebody like Deep Prasad to be highly intelligent and a scientist with a scientific background. So part of the scientific method is to challenge, question, and use common sense and logic for a deduction. With what was being said in the spaces that he was a part of, and he was even a co-host in one of those spaces, he was attending to agree with the rhetoric and the troll narrative, which I found
and that's
surprising.
The problem, Mike, where you're dealing with people who are putting out rumors and innuendo, people who truly lack factual evidence beyond rumors and innuendo, and that rumors and innuendo is being put forward as fact, and people are expected to go ahead and defend themselves from it. All I'm going to say is, fuck all of it. It's all innuendos and rumors, and I'm not going to address anything like that no more than you would have a democratic government go ahead and give in to the demands of terrorists.
Right. We do not negotiate.
No, we don't
terrorists.
negotiate. We're American citizens. We see where this stuff is at. And if they want to go ahead and threaten me, they're threatening our frickin' flag, red, white, and blue. Honestly.
Right. But let me make a quick. But anytime we're confronted with misinformation or rhetoric, we'll listen to it.
Yeah.
But unless there is direct evidence to support the claims that are being made, you and I are not going to buy into it.
Oh, heck no. I'm not going to respond to it. I'm just going to take these trolls and just block them on Twitter because that's where they deserve to go.
Well, that's already been done. But my point is,
no,
if we hear new
I'm
arguments,
expanding my block collection every day, Mike. It's wonderful.
Oh, well, yeah, the collection is increasing as we speak. But my point is, if you and I ever run across anybody saying anything about anyone else, regardless of the rhetoric, we're not going to take it seriously unless we have evidence, proof to support the claims that are being made. And if not, we're not going to take it seriously. So,
and some of the people, if they bring forward the proof that they have, guess where they're going, Mike? They're going to jail.
if they broke the law in that, but
Yeah.
I don't think that they have any proof, and I've said that.
Oh, yeah.
It's just false, and the more false accusations that are being made, allegations that are not correct, and nothing to substantiate it, nothing to back it up. And it's common sense, and I'll tell you why. If they had anything, a concrete that was real of what it is that they've been saying, they would have come forward with that first and then followed with the rhetoric afterwards. The fact that they never did that tells me they don't have anything. They never did, and they never will. It's all false narrative and fake allegations. If they had anything concrete, they would have put that out first and foremost. Never happened. It's not going to.
Yeah.
So it's just people looking for attention.
Yeah,
That's all it is.
as Sin just said in the chat, I've got him blocked on Twitter. He must have said something. And if not, reach out to me on my email. It's part of every frickin' broadcast notes we put out. Let us know what you think. Right?
So who got blocked? Sin got blocked?
Sin got blocked by me on Twitter for some reason.
Oh, no, that wasn't. I'm sure that wasn't intentional.
Oh, I'm sure it was intentional for what was said. I never block anyone on Twitter lightly.
No, I know you don't, but I don't think. I mean, I could be wrong. You'd have to, I guess, go over and see what was going on back and forth.
Yeah, that's why I said send me an email. Let's talk about it.
Right.
Gotta have fun.
Well, come in the back chat.
Oh, the back chat. The back chat. You gotta remind me about the back chat, Mike. What the hell happened? I just lost freaking Chrome. There it is. What the hell's going on? Anyway, Mike, what a great show. What a great opportunity. Happy freaking Labor Day.
Happy Labor Day to you too, my friend.
Is there anything we haven't covered? Rick, Mike, anybody?
No, I think we're good at this point, Thomas.
Yeah, I think so too. It's been a fun show
been
to
fun.
say the
Yeah, it has been
absolute
fun.
least. Yeah, we are serious at Disclosure tonight about not being serious. This is our disclaimer. We like to have fun. This which you would call, what do you call it? News entertainment? What did I call us earlier today, Mike?
No, that was in the previous show. It's it's us bringing out truth and disclosure to the audience and trying to help them cut through all the bullshit that's out there.
Yeah,
'cause
but
it can
we're
be
having a
overwhelming.
fun time doing it. I don't have a tie for a reason. I guess I could put on a tie and a fat man's coat to fit my physique. I don't feel like it. I'm sorry. This is my time to hang out with my audience and with our guests and have a fun time. Be relaxed. Yes, it looks like a studio, but yeah, I'm wearing a flannel because you know why? It's cold here in frickin' Pacific Northwest. Yeah, our days in August that we had in the 80s, I could probably count on one hand if I was lucky. But you gotta have good, Mike.
No, you're right. But listen, it's casual and friendly, which is the environment that's here on Disclosure tonight. So I think you're dressed appropriately, my friend.
Oh, you got to, my friend. And I also want to thank our really good friends. This is a open joke on the on Twitter, my friends. I want to go ahead and thank Diana from Walmart for coming out to the show tonight. And thank you for doing your service as a reptilian who works for the largest employer in the world. They've got to keep their progress funded somewhere, my friend.
Truth Seeker, if you want to come in the back after the show, we can discuss it further.
Yeah. On that note, where in the hell's my music? Where did I put it at? Oh, yeah, there we go. Oh, gee, why is it so dark? No. Nope, not that one. It's here somewhere. There we go. And thank everybody for coming out to this evening's Disclosure tonight. Holy cow. Happy freaking Monday, everybody. Hopefully you had a good time. More importantly, I want to thank the people who have thrown in some super chats to Disclosure tonight. That would include Tamisha Bertrand, Rick Doty, Townie 3057, and Faiswell. Thank you, everybody, for your love and support of everything Disclosure tonight. More importantly, I also want to go ahead and thank the participants in the chat, because the chat is where it's at. Remember, if you haven't subscribed, what the heck are you waiting for? And also, if you haven't given us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, we'll take one or the other. We're the first place on YouTube. Other people are copying us, but you know what? That's a good thing. I appreciate that. Let's go ahead and thank our participants in the chat, including Andy W., Blake McQuarrie, Brian Pebble, Bush Light, Chris, 11B, Dennis Benke, Elwan Hubbard, Elon McGinnis, Eric Roth and the Gurus, Evan B., Kelly Broughton, those piercing blue eyes, King Bull, Liz W., Mr. Catfish 2100, Nathan Forrest, Paul Damon, Peggy, love you, my dear lady. Thank you for stopping by today, and thank you for those wonderful text messages. Reality Check VIP, Rick Doty, Roger, Rough Reddy, S. Sin, Shelly Montgomery, Stargazer, 46 and 2, Tets, the Mac Geek. Who else is out there? Tia Loreno, of course, a Truth Seeker, and Wildcat Mahone. But then again, I want to thank the people who are in the back who actually raised their hand today. And who am I talking about? Let's go ahead and take a look. Andy, thanks for coming in tonight.
My pleasure, Thomas. Yeah, a bit quieter tonight, and not much to add to the show. But yeah, it's been a great show, and it's been nice to spend some time with you guys, not with my work colleagues.
Oh, absolutely, my friend. Absolutely. Also want to thank Brian Pemble. Thanks for being here, my friend.
Oh, absolutely. Great show as usual. Look forward to the back chat.
Thank you very much. Also want to thank Laura Campbell. Thank you for being here, Laura.
My pleasure, Thomas. It's always interesting.
Absolutely. Hollywood Harold, thanks for the questions, my friend.
Oh, always, Thomas. I'm on your side, man. You got to keep this show rolling.
You better believe it, my friends. Y'all got to believe it. Syrup, thanks for keeping it pouring, my friend.
Yeah, good show tonight, Thomas. And I just want to say I'm Team Lue. Lue is truth.
Oh, we all have been here. We've been Team Lue and Team Grush. You believe there's schmucks out there going ahead saying I was trying to dox Grush?
Oh, man. They don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. Or excuse my language.
Oh, they're about to learn. They're about to learn. Mike, Disclosure, thank you for being here, along with Rick. What a great show.
Oh, we had fun. And the saying goes, fuck around and find out, Thomas. They certainly
I
will.
put that picture up, so people got really pissed off when I put that picture up. Then I put up the crazy. But, you know, we got it. You saw those things. You got to have fun with it.
Yes, we did.
Yes. Rick, thank you for being here, my friend. What a wonderful surprise, and thank you for that great super chat again.
Oh, you're very welcome, Thomas. Great show. Thank you for doing what you do, and keep this movement going, this disclosure movement.
And that's the thing. It's a movement. It doesn't matter if you're on one side or the other. We all want the truth to come forward, no matter where it lies between one way or the other, right?
Absolutely.
And anybody who fights against it is fighting against the truth, no matter how it lies. So those are the people we have to be worried about or be concerned about.
I agree.
Absolutely. As we usually say at the end of every episode of Disclosure tonight, eyes open, no fear, be safe, everyone. But
go back to Party City where you belong.
Absolutely. We'll catch you on the flip side. Good night, everybody. Love you. Y'all come back now. Here. Take care. Bye-bye.